So I got a few conversations going on upstairs right now. One of them was, if my mother should worry about me, she already knows where I've roughly gone. I didn't recognize that I would find this spot right next to it. So I came to sit here because she's been bugging me about smoking, smelling like smoke, the whole street smelling like smoke. And while sitting here, I just came across, some of these headstones are really, there's this one here. This one's just awesome. This is like, and it actually, if I can do it again, my shirt paints it red a little bit, and it, in the picture then, and it looks pretty cool. Eh? And if you do this, it's like it's galloping. Gallop, 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 gallop. And then we are over, remember this guy? Hamilton? That's a movie Time tribute. I keep time, that's my job. Hey. Oh, this one. I just want to be clear, I'm definitely pointing at moss, not wood. It's moss still. It'll grow into wood one day, so they're not wrong, but it's moss. See it? Or were you thinking I was going to say marble? Or that it's a cool headstone? Or what were you going to... who are you? What are you thinking? Private thoughts, eh? I have them too, so I still stay me. Just with a little bit of more oomph. Go-go juice. Jayo. 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 That means go-go-go in Chinese. It's the short form of the definition of a miracle, which means to make a snippet of time that was no longer necessary, which included wars all over the planet. So we've already, destroyed... Well, I told this to Lindsay yesterday, actually. So maybe I should repeat it here. Not a bad thing. Okay, so there's a couple of us upstairs. And when we are working out logic problems, we are spinning around like a cube. And one of us is the pilot, and he's making sure that the system is revolving. And that's all his job is just keep it revolving. So he's basically a reflection, a constant state reflection. And then whatever the fourth guy writes on the reflection, because it's flipping, right? It can only be the same message if it's balanced. In other words, if it holds both conditions true on the logical extreme, which means either you're going to want it or not want it. As long as you can fill both of those voids in the same sentence, then you present an unbeatable argument. So you basically overpower their God complex. And then you basically, keep linking minds until you find out that the eternal mind was just looking for like a little hole to spit something through. And it picked my Samsung, my wife's actually Samsung A42, because she really doesn't like the iPhone. And I use the iPhone. The iPhone really doesn't let you record your calls. They're against recording, which is against publicity and also the right in order to keep a consistent personal record to verify the events of your life in case others accuse you of being delusional when they claim to be God. So in that regard, iPhones are definitely, that's the reason why they're getting phased out. That's the reason why. So the more recording capability you offer a tool, the more useful it is, just as a general rule of thumb. So basically all the apps on my phone are for recording. More or less. Yeah, all of them. And I don't litter my phone with a whole bunch of them. I tie off the endings so that I don't have to contact these people again. And if somebody's emailing me, it's like, why the fuck are you emailing me? Like, didn't I already answer all your questions? And so I don't get a lot of feedback from people I don't want it to do anything with. So that's where I'm at. Now, other things that I should be telling you, Mars. We came from Mars. We were an unconscious group that had, I don't know if we were stepping down. I guess we were stepping down on the planets there. So Jupiter before Mars, Saturn before Jupiter, retained awareness on Jupiter and Saturn, but Mars accidentally got too physical, vibratory difference, too high tuned on Mars, destroyed the whole planet. Had like nuclear atom bombs here is nothing compared to what happened on Mars. Lost total atmosphere, everything. But few of us remained, and that's verified in documentary movie on YouTube called third eye spies, right? A psychic named Ivan was used by the CIA to explore Mars, and about 1 billion years back in our timeline, there were inhabitants of Mars that had bodies the size of 7 to 17, I'm getting 17 feet tall, 17 feet. That's, I'm delusional, so who knows? I mean, whatever. So, but they were huge, and they were hiding under the ground there until just the body, until there was no point to stay. So they retained motion of their bodies and their awareness until there was just no other movement on the planet, and then they left. So we will most likely find those bodies still on Mars. I'm not really sure how tall they are, really don't quote me on that. So, and this is what the Bible calls the Redeemer, because he's double checking everything, and he's what I call, for whatever I is. I is the pilot of all of the machines that are, you got it, you are a machine to your own self. So you got to know yourself to understand your environment. That's what all that means. It means that you are your own keeper. You are your own God. So you have to accept that this world is a machine world. You are an operator of your machine. You are not the machine. You have to understand that. And then after you understand that, then you can play around with that a little bit more. And then eventually you're going to get to the logical ends that you have two ultimate personalities. You have an all-encompassing part of you that's unconscious, somehow unknown to you. And then you have it's longer than 5 minutes, so we can't put it on Facebook. And then you have it's just information. Then you have a conscious self, and the conscious self interacts with others, and we try to provide each other with insight into things that we found that work for us in our life. And well, I keep looking at this word here. This isn't how it works. So I keep looking at this one here, and I'm only looking specifically at this word here. Hazlet. It reminds me of hazelnuts, and that's like Nutella. So when I read that word, Hazlet, I'm thinking about Nutella, which is to me, and hazelnuts, and I actually really like hazelnuts. So this is actually a really, really nice word to me. I really like it, even though I have no idea anything else about this at all. But the arrangement of the letters appeal to me, so I'm looking at it, and I can do other things with it now. I can say let, and then A, have, C. We with an extra T. I mean, we could just make fun games to use all the stuff in our environment to send a message to that we can end up tying off to some other eternal reference in our environment, so that we're weaving ideas through ideas in the fourth dimension, so that we're not totally unconscious of our otherwise unconscious sphere. And then we're we got the two extreme personalities, beep up. We're like, well, okay, so we're binging back and forth off each other. So then there's got to be, the eternal reflection has to have two, not just one. But they're two that are so welded together that they look like one, and that they're remembered as one. And those are the four. And then we bounce ideas through an imaginary check process that I believe is in my head, where I have four personalities. So in this world here, I believe I have four personalities, and then I believe that I am the pilot of these four personalities, and then I also believe that everybody else has the same four personalities, and from those four personalities you can definitely have a presentation of every kind of mental disorder that's currently listed in the DSM, except that the cause of the illness is not the body, and never was, and never will be. And that's a big problem for the doctors, So, in addition to having proven all of the doctors are incorrect by demonstrating it, because you can't really prove anything to anybody, they just have to eventually believe it. So, by really demonstrating and saying, it made the system stutter. Oh my God, he made AI stutter. Yeah, and I've already seen the foreshadow of that. So, imagine what would happen if somebody just consecutively kept winning the lottery on the same ticket. Just think about that for a second. Like, what are the odds of that? It would have to be totally random, I think is your word, right? So A Course in Miracles says there's nothing random in the world. And if you haven't checked out A Course in Miracles, then you should definitely, just like it says, do nothing. Okay, you don't have to go to acim.2dream.ca to check out the most awesome book in the world, because it tells you what you absolutely have to do. And then when you're sitting there looking at the book thinking, okay, well, you know what? These workbook lessons are getting really dull and boring. They're like, all of them are telling me I am not my body in many different forms. It's just all I am not my body over and over and over again. Can we just not speed this up? And then eventually, the logical breaker goes and kicks back in and says, well, you can close the book. I mean, when Bill found an argument between two people in the book, he ripped out the page. So you're done. Oh, okay. It's your logic circuit, but it wasn't really properly explained. You had to find that one yourself, and in order to find it yourself, you had to do some really deep digging, and I did that. And I was a college prof when I started, and I was smart, and now I'm smarter, I think, more or less, from your terms. From mine, it's a whole different something else, and I'm totally okay with that. Really, I got this. We're good. I got this. I'm okay. We're fine. We're doing good. I got this. Just letting you know.